Greetings, everybody. Today is Thursday, and I hope you survived the big snowstorm that we had. Pray everybody is safe. Today we continue our daily Psalms for Hope with Psalm 107, and this is a long one, so we're going to piecemeal this one as well. So get out your Bibles and let's look at Psalm 107. So we'll start at the beginning. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his steadfast love endures forever. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so, whom he has redeemed from trouble, and gathered in from the lands, from the east and from the west, from the north and from the south. Some wandered in desert wastes, finding no way to a city to dwell in. Hungry and thirsty, their soul fainted within them. Then they cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them from their distress. He led them by a straight way till they reached a city to dwell in. Let them thank the Lord for his steadfast love, for his wondrous works to the children of man. For he satisfies the longing soul, and the hungry soul he fills with good things. So there's four scenarios that the psalmist creates here. And so in verse 4 and 5, it's somebody who is kind of lost and without purpose. Then in verses 10 and 11, it is somebody who is in spiritual darkness. Some sat in darkness in the shadow of death, prisoners in affliction and in irons, for they had rebelled against the words of God and spurned the counsel of the Most High. So he bowed their heads, their hearts down with hard labor. They fell down with none to help. Then they cried to the Lord. And then the next scenario is we find in verse 17 and 18. Some were fools through their sinful ways, and because of their iniquity suffered affliction. They loathed any kind of food, and they drew near to the gates of death. Then they cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them from their distress. So it's kind of like I would say like the sin of pride. You could equate that to. Then down in verse 23 through 25, 26, there's some on ships, and a big storm comes, and they're fearing. And so the scenario in that case is fear, trembling. And they cried out to the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them from their distress. He made the storm be still, and the waves of the sea were hushed. Then they were glad that the waters were quiet, and he brought them to their desired haven. Let them thank the Lord for his steadfast love. So the psalmist gives four different scenarios where an individual can be hurting, can be lost, can be caught in their sin, can fear, and be in spiritual darkness. And every time he says the same exact words. Then they cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them from their distress. And what a great Advent theme this is, because and particularly with what we're going through right now. I mean, this is spot on to where we might be in our lives right now. Worn out, exhausted, spiritually drained from the whole thing that we're going through, the pandemic, all the personal complications with that. But the result or the resolution or the solving of this is all the same. They cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them in their distress. They cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them in their distress. That's exactly why Jesus came. Jesus came into this world for the purpose of being with us. And as we have been talking about throughout these several weeks of Advent, this theme seems to be resonating in these Psalms as well. I never realized that, but this whole idea of God with us is so critical to the survival of our lives when it comes to fear, when it comes to our sinfulness, when it comes to our spiritual darkness, when it comes to our purpose and being lost in life. We can cry out to the Lord in our trouble, and He will deliver us from our distress. And that is a promise of God that we can always have, and especially a promise of a God who has come into this world to be with us. He has come into this world to forgive us and to grant us salvation, but to be present with us through all the trials that we face, and particularly today. So today, the word for us is, they cried to the Lord in their trouble, and He delivered them from their distress. It's worthy of putting on an index card. I can cry to the Lord in my distress, and He will deliver me from my distress. I can cry to Him in my trouble and deliver me from my distress. What a great word for us today. And may it be so in your life and in mine, that when the trials of life come, we do cry to the Lord in our trouble, because He will deliver us in our distress. May God's blessings be upon you, and be a blessing whenever and wherever you can.